Happy New Year's, everyone. Welcome and welcome back to our channel, Jen Star. I'm your host, Star. And to start off the year, we have some very interesting news coming from the DC side of comic books, specifically actually just the DC film side. Guys, I think Warner Brothers and DC has just finally upset fans when it comes to their films, and it's actually quite funny thinking how bad this will all implode once The Flash comes out later on this year. So, rumors are floating around the upcoming Flashpoint movie will reboot the DC films entirely. Will reboot the Zack Synder-verse movies and get rid of Batman and Superman as a whole. Honestly, DC has been going at a downhill spiral since their first movie, but I think at this point, they need to just reboot their staff who controls these live action movies, because they just haven't been providing quality movies that Marvel has been providing for years. And as someone who grew up in comics or got introduced to comics through DC before I branched out into Marvel and all these other indie comic book companies, it's really sad that Marvel is just not on top of their game like they are with their animated content and or how they are with their comic book side. It's just like, come on, you have like the blueprint over at Marvel, or you have you can even follow your own blueprint with your animated content, yet you guys just don't. And it's just so, oh my god, it's crazy, and it's really annoying as a DC fan, just to see that these movies are not up to par with Marvel. But however, I really do hope the upcoming Robert Pattinson Batman movie and this Flashpoint movie is really good, because based on the trailer for The Batman, it looks extremely promising that this movie is just going to like bring in new fans, or bring in more, or give back DC their respect. And then for Ezra Miller's Flash movie, Flash is my number one favorite comic book character just of all time, especially, in DC. He's my number one favorite comic book character, and so I just consume all Flash media and content. That even means the CW Flash, and even though that is a wild ride on its own, I'm thinking optimistic with this movie. But however, with these rumors floating around, I don't know, it's a little iffy with all of that. So I'll put there's two tweets. I'll put them on the screen right now for you guys to look at. Essentially what these tweets are talking about is either a reboot or retcon for the DCEU, and that's like the Synder-verse movies, and everything that happened since Man of Steel to present day with the Snyder Cut, and also with The Flash, because that's still part of that universe. And yeah, so we're gonna get, first of all, we already know Ben Affleck is reprising his role as Batman. Henry Cavill is reprising his role, but not actually the actor. They're using archival footage and old footage of Henry Cavill for this movie, which is gonna be interesting. I don't know why they just won't, like, why didn't the actor come back, or why won't they reuse Henry Cavill, because that's just such great casting right there, him as Superman. But I guess if it's not essential to the plot, but I don't know, that's a little weird. Batgirl and Supergirl would basically take over as the new Batman and Superman. They're not gonna have the name titles or be called that, but essentially that's what they are in the new universe. So while I was looking through a bunch of articles, it looks like Michael Keaton's Batman in Flashpoint, or I guess more so in the upcoming Batgirl movie, Michael Keaton will play this, I guess, old man Batman role, or old man Bruce Wayne role. That's similar in the Batman Beyond storyline, the show in the comics, the tie-in comics. And instead of having the actual Batman Beyond movie, they're gonna just put that into Batgirl. So instead of getting Terry McGinnis, we're getting Batgirl, and in that movie, that's when he passes down his name title to Batgirl to become the new icon for the bat symbol and whatever. This is the new DC universe, guys. It sucks that obviously they're not completely stopping Batman and Superman movies, because we do have the Batman movie coming out soon. So Batman is still getting movies made out of, and I'm assuming sometime in the future Superman will get a new movie in a separate universe made for him as well. But just with the DCEU and what they're trying to do to establish this franchise similar to the MCU, they're done with Batman and Superman, at least within in this specific universe. But Batman and Superman are obviously are going to still get content made out of them and other things. Which, when you think about it in that way, it's fine, and you just kind of have to roll with it. But when you think specifically with this new franchise that they're trying to rebuild, if you take away your two most iconic characters and take away two iconic characters in superhero comics in general, like even with Marvel, like it's Batman and Superman, even if you're a Marvel fan, you consider those names and the generation and decades behind those characters as iconic. So taking away that, it's gonna suffer so hard for you to for this new franchise that they're trying to rebuild. It's not gonna go well. Either friends are gonna be just like so upset about it, angry, bummed out, and or they're gonna speak. It's like on Twitter and YouTube, speak their entire minds about this new change, or they're just not gonna do it well in a way that fans can even enjoy Batgirl or Supergirl. I mean, how many movies have we had since Man of Steel? That came out in what 2013 or something like that. They have created all these movies within this universe, and people have fell in more love with casting and the actors than the actual stories in these movies. But because people are like Zack Snyder so well respected, people had high hopes for the plans he had. That's why they really wanted Snyder Cut, and Warner Bros. Hated that, and that's not what they want to go with. But essentially they were forced by their parent company to release the Snyder Cut, and they weren't happy about it, and they released the HBO Max, and it wasn't a fun time for them. So it makes sense in a way why Warner Bros. And DC are trying to distance themselves from the Synder-verse, because they just really weren't happy with that whole universe. Though it's entirely their fault that it just didn't go as well as they hoped it will. It just kept crashing and burning every time they released a movie. Not all the movies in that universe is bad. Wonder Woman was a good movie. Aquaman was a good movie. But just the franchise as a whole is just not, like, no one puts it on any type of pedestal. It's not a great franchise. And, it's the earlier films that they just did not want to build up that, eventually resulted in their own downfall. And whatever with that. I absolutely lost my train of thought. But fans are going to be upset with this movie. And if these leaks are true, fans are going to be upset with the new casting and just the new idea of this new universe and franchise. And fans are going to be upset. They're not going to see Zack Snyder's vision for this universe. I mean, he had some great visions for what was going to happen after the original Justice League in 2017. And, he couldn't do that, do what he wanted to do. It says a lot about Warner Brothers' view on Zack Snyder. So I really hope it's not a retcon, because I would like to, obviously we still have the Zack Snyder movies, and Ezra Miller denying basically the rumors and the leaks that are coming out about Zack Snyder being completely retconned or, rebooted and things like that. But essentially he's not really denying, saying like they're retconning the universe. Is basically saying, I'll put his thing up on the screen. He's just basically saying like the movies will still exist in fans' hearts, which is obviously true. We still have these movies, you could still go back and watch them, but it's just the idea or the thought, knowing that in this new universe or whatever they're doing, it's like you gotta forget like it ever happened. It's hard not seeing how bad this is going to go, but I'm going to try my best to be optimistic as possible, especially since the Flash is my favorite character. And we'll see how it goes. I want to bring up this one last point before this video ends. It also looks like Warner Bros. Just does not care for a DCEU. It's like at this point, they don't care for this franchise anymore, like they so desperately wanted in the beginning, because they have bigger stuff. they have their DCEU content, you know, the stuff that's already made, and you know, the new version or the rebooted version of DCEU that's gonna happen after this Flash movie, that they have that under lock. And then they also have the Arrowverse on the CW. They have all these DC content on TV, and you know, going back to the DCEU, they're even going to start to do what Marvel's doing with the Disney Plus shows with HBO Max, and put some DCEU characters and make them have their own TV show with Peacemaker. John Cena's Peacemaker is gonna be on HBO Max. So they have a DCEU, and then they have a subdivision with their TV shows for HBO Max. Then they have the Arrowverse on the CW with DC content, and then they have their own subdivision, I guess, with Netflix, where you can watch these shows after they air. And then they're gonna have with the Batman coming out soon, they're gonna have their own sub Batman universe. They're gonna have Joker. It's also in its own universe. And then with Batgirl coming out and this new universe, we're gonna have these stuff. And then you also have Titans also on HBO Max. You have Doom Patrol, and I think they stated Harley Quinn's animated series. That's all in their own universes as well. So this is really playing a long game here, and they really have all these content spread out so far that at this point I don't think they even care for this DCEU being their main staple of live action content, because it's not. You know, Arrowverse is going on for years now. They're getting into animated stuff with Harley Quinn, and you know, they have Young Justice. So like, you know, the DCEU is not what's on in their mind, and at this point they don't care, I guess, in a way, to establish a really locked franchise. They just more care about picking stories here and there and adapting them in their own way. And you know, I mean, you can't really be mad at that, especially since, you know, if the live actions are not your cup of tea, you get content from DC elsewhere as well. Compared to, you know, comparing their long game plan and all their like content spread out so far compared to MCU, which is just live action movies, and now they're delving into TV. Though technically you also have the Netflix stuff like Daredevil, Punisher, and the Defenders, Jessica Jones, things like that. Not either confirmed that those Netflix shows were even part of the MCU. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know if you're liking the plan or if you think it's gonna crash and burn. I'm more in the middle because I'm just keeping an optimistic point of view, because I really like the Flash, and I would hate for it to suffer and basically, and you know, self-destruct and implode everything DC is doing so far with their live action movies. But you know, I'm not too happy with the rumors and the decisions Warner Bros. Is going with DC. But yeah, do let me know your thoughts down below. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully I can bring you guys more news like this in the future. I just thought this was very interesting, and I wanted to react to it in real time as this is going down since January 2nd or January 1st, I believe. But I'm hoping to do more superhero related content. I recently did a review to Spider-Man No Way Home, and I have some theories in that video. So definitely check it out if you want some more superhero content. But yeah, Jen and I will see you in the next video. Stay good at heart, and peace.